find out that 21 CFR Part 11, which does not include the label printer. Is it right?
So no, label printer, if you in your URS, if you put that you're gonna have database. So 21 CFR Part 11 deal with electronic records, electronic signature. Remember.
Okay.
So in your URS, if you don't have database, then it won't apply directly.
Oh, okay.
But the system which have database, data, electronic record, any record you're storing, then 21 CFR Part 11 applies.
And
Okay.
then,
So,
yeah, and
so
then
21 CFR Part 11 is for electronic record, electronic signature controls, and audit trail. These are the three things you have to understand for 21 CFR Part 11. Yes,
oh,
go ahead. Finish your thought. Yeah.
yeah, like then Madhukar was asking question like I am also like confused with that. How do we handle a regulatory requirement for a computer system that cannot be tested in the present scope of validation?
What is the question again? So how can we validate? Go ahead, read
How
again.
how do we handle a regulatory requirement for a computer system that cannot be tested in the present scope of validation, like under CFR Part 11?
Doesn't matter. You still have to validate. You have to test other functionalities.
Oh, okay. So it is not
Yeah,
required, like it should be under 21 CFR Part 11.
that's correct. No,
Mm.
if it's not, even if it's not 21 CFR Part 11, you still need to validate. You remember we did assessment?
Mm.
In assessment, what we studied that if it's GXP, then we need to validate the system. If it's not GXP, then we don't need to validate.
Okay.
But after the GXP, then we decide, then we also assess whether it's 21 CFR Part 11 applicable or not. If it is applicable, then we test 21 CFR Part 11 requirements. If it's not, then we don't. And
Okay.
that is the difference. But regardless, as long as it's GXP, we're going to test. We're going to validate.
Okay. If it is
Okay.
GXP applicable, we're gonna test that for the validation.
That's correct. Totally. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Any other question, concern? Meanwhile, Chandan sir, are you here? For some reason, can't
Yeah,
see him.
yeah, I think he's on mute. Yeah, his camera's on.
Amitaji, I started recording today without even you reminding me.
He says he's there.
Are these systems that we use, like let's say G-Track or TrackWise, um, are they like, I mean, I know in some cases that they are already validated by the time we start working there. And in some cases, we might be the ones validating the system. However, in the interview,
Prospective and retrospective.
right?
Remember. Mhm.
Yep. So, like, let's say in our interview, they'll ask us, like, have you validated LIMS, like, that particular system, for example?
Mhm.
I have written LIMS in my resume. How do I
Mhm.
learn, like, like the details about LIMS? Is it from YouTube and
Okay,
online?
that's correct. So let me now, I'm getting there exactly to that point.
Okay.
So everybody is here. Now I'm going to start the class. Pragisha, are you there? Pragisha?
Okay, she was there.
Yeah.
Might be.
Here. Pragisha, you here? Okay. Okay. So let's start now. The real one. So pay attention to this class. First thing I want to say that I could not hold myself. I missed you guys so much that I had to put this class. And here I am, and here we at. Any system. So pay attention. So in your resume, you're gonna put 3 to 4 systems. And for those 3 to 4 systems, you have to defend. Okay. So how you gonna defend? You know, you have not worked on those systems. Am I right? You have not validated the system. And then what did I teach you? You know, so that is the question. So the answer is I have taught you how to validate any system. Regardless, you know, there is hundreds of systems. Even, you know, I have worked in 20 years, Mike have worked 30 years. We could not validate each and every system. There are hundreds of systems out there. So not anybody cannot validate every system. But what we can do is we know how to validate any system. Am I right? But now the question is, to get the job, you have to say that you have validated at least 2-3 systems. So how we validate the system? You know, like any system, like, you know, we validated label printer, but any system, what you're gonna need to know is basic functionalities of that system. If somebody gonna ask you, did you validate Viva Vault, or did you validate G-Track, you're gonna say yes, but then they might ask you, what module did you validate? You're gonna say, I validated change control in G-Track. Then you should know basic functionalities. You know, you don't need to know each and everything about the system. They cannot ask you, because each systems are validated by a group of people. You know, in my system Discoverant, we are 40 engineers only in change control. So one person doesn't know what's happening in other module. So you cannot know each and everything about any system. But what do you need to know? You need to pick a couple of modules and say, I have validated this system. Validated means what? I have tested these functionalities. Pay attention. When you say validated, means you have tested the certain functionalities of that system. That's all you need to defend. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through 3 systems right now, and you guys gonna put these systems in your resume, and based on this you're gonna defend yourself that, hey, I have validated this system, and at the most you have to talk about a couple of modules, that what did you validate it in that system. That's all. So you need to know basics functionality of that system. So talking to that Srishti for LIMS, also you're gonna go and learn some basic functionality, you know, and that's about it. You can say I have validated that system. Validated means you have wrote IQ, OQ, PQ, or OQ, PQ for that system, mostly. You know, you cannot do everything from the beginning till end. Even though I have taught you guys from assessment to final summary report, but you cannot do everything of any system. So you just have to say that I have wrote OQ and PQ, but I have assisted in IQ, I have assisted in ValPlan, I have assisted in RRA, I have assisted in summary report. So in that way, nobody can dig you onto really deeper level of any system, and it's not possible, because you cannot, as 3-4 years of experience you're going to put, or 5 years even, you cannot know each and everything about validation. You know more than what you need to know. In fact, one of my students got feedback that this guy knows more than we expected. He's not supposed to know this much in 3 years of experience. Assis was told. So you have to remember, you just gonna say, I have assisted in well plan, I have assisted in RRA, I have assisted in URS, FRS, but I have wrote OQ, PQ. Stick to that. That's your strength. As a validation engineer, that's all they expect from you. If you can write IQ, OQ, PQ or not, and execute. Okay. Any question here?
Sir, so
Yes.
can we say like I have involved in developing a validation plan?
Totally. That's totally fine. That's how you're gonna say. You're gonna say I was involved in developing a plan, and I assisted with informations. Or you can, if they dig more, you can say, hey, I was working in some of the sections, pulling out from SOP, giving them that, hey, we can put this. So whatever you did while writing, that's your stories. That's your small stories. What you guys have done so far is done a real-time project, and that's what creates a stories. They're gonna say, have you worked as a lead? So Chandan sir can say, yes, I have worked as a lead. Okay, how is your experience? Then he can create stories. Oh, one of my teammates could not pick up the call, could not, Sahil was not present. All kind of stories you're gonna make. This is your experience. These 2 months you did a mini project, but it's an extension of years of projects. You understand? So that's how you're going to defend yourself. So now let's go back to systems. Any questions so far? Okay.
Your sound is cracking.
So yeah, any questions so far? Okay, so this is the system. It calls GXP Learn. Every company you go, first thing you have to do is you have to get trained in one of their learning management system. Some have Cornerstone, some have ETQ, some have ComplianceWire. Most of the company has ComplianceWire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through some of the basic functionality. And those are the functionality you tested. That's what you're going to defend. Am I right? So, when you say I have validated this system, that means you have validated the functionalities. You have tested the functionalities. So that's what I'm going to walk you through, guys. So for this system, ComplianceWire, it's a learning management system. It's in production right now. You can see, it shows my name here. So what are the things this system have? It has resource, it has curriculum, it has to do, it has a history, it has a catalog, it has a reports. So if you're going to say that you have validated learning management system, they're going to ask you, what did you validate it? For example, if they want to dig further, then you can say that I have validated catalog, I have validated report, I have validated to do. So now what are the things in to do? There is a lot of functionalities in to do. So now let's look at it. So if I click on to do, you see I have these due in my to-do list. So everything you see here is a requirement. How was this built? It's built out of requirement. Am I right? Somebody wrote the requirement, and based on that, it was configured. So you see this first, it's in instructor-led course. There are course which is read and understand. There are course which is web-based. Then you have the number, what is the course number? Every course have a unique number. Then you have due date. Then you go further a little bit, click on this. You see now it has all these informations. These are all FRS. And when you validate, you have to test each and everything about the system. So you see everything you see here, general information, print, remove. Sometimes it has a launch here, launch button. So everything you see here is part of your URS and FRS. And as a validation engineer, this is what you're going to test, that everything works. Understood? So this is how you defend. So this is the to-do list. Now let's go look at the history. In history, you see whatever training I have done, it has all these record. You see all these record, all these training I have completed. So this is also part of URS and FRS. When it says history, what are the things needs to be in the history? So it has to be what kind of course? So you see this is WBT, web-based training. This is instructor-led. This is read and understand. WBT, read and understand, control document. So first thing you see is what kind of training it is. Then it has a name. Then it has number. Then it has when I completed. Okay. So all these completion date. Then it has qualified. Did I qualify or not? Did I pass the course or not? Then it has qualified completion, yes. Then it has effective, yes. Then it has e-signature, yes. Then it has certificate of completion. So each thing you see, if I click on this, it will open a certificate of completion. See, this is my name. I have completed this course. Date of completion, 5th February 2021. So these are the FRS. And this is based on that, this system was configured. And this is what you test as a validation engineer, that based on URS and FRS, if it's working or not. So if somebody gonna say, did you validate learning management system ComplianceWare? You're gonna say yes. Then what are the module you validated? You're gonna say history. In history, these are the functionalities you have tested. You have created a test protocol and you have tested it. What are the all other things? Sort option, search, print, download, all these things, if it's working or not. These are your URS and FRS. Any question?
Yes, sir. I have a question. Like, I am
Yes.
confused with the software testing, I guess, and the application testing. Like, is
Okay.
it the options, like when you say completed on this and then qualified, are these options need to be tested or no?
Everything.
Like when you completed,
Everything, every functionality, yeah. When you completed, it has to show when it's completed.
qualified.
Is it qualified? Each and every functionality will be written, will be part of your FRS.
So this is kind of software testing, is it? Or I am
It
mixing
is, but
validation and software testing?
yes, you do. Because software testing is you're testing. So there are difference. Software testing, first you test unit testing, then you test integration testing, but those are not formal testing. Validation testing is a formal testing. You need evidence to produce.
Oh,
It
okay.
has to be in a validation instance. You cannot test in a development. It
Oh,
all
yes.
has to be recorded.
And it is tested like once everything is finished. And software
That's
testing we can
correct.
do while we are developing the software.
That's correct. That's correct. So
Mhm.
those are the differences. So, but still you test each and every functionality of it,
Yes. Mhm.
of this system. So this is how you're going to defend yourself, that you have tested this system, and this is what it is. This is what. Then you see catalog, you have search engine, you have Boolean search, you can search anything here, code to A to G, code to G to A, title A to G, title G to A, category A to G, category G to A. Now, just to test this feature catalog, it can take you 3 to 5 months. Think about it. Writing the test and executing the test, just this one module. Because you have to come up with all these parameters, see, and test it if it's working or not. Can't hear you, Chandan sir. You might be on double mute. No. No, we could not hear you. Anybody else could hear, Chandan sir? No. Yeah. Any other question so far? Let him fix it meanwhile.
Sir, I have a question. So when
Yes.
we say we work on learning management system, so do we mention compliance wire or just say learning management system?
You can say compliance wire. Compliance wire is the company, or Cornerstone or ETQ. Any company can have learning management system. But if you say compliance wire, then you're specific, then you are familiar with this.
Okay. Yeah, so that we can just tell them what's in there, and then we can be sure what we are talking about. So I can just
That's
mention
right.
compliance wire. Okay, sure. Thank you, sir.
That's right. Any other question, Amitaji? Same way you can say I have worked on report, and then you have curriculum report, you have my suggested other groups of offline queued report request. So all these things you have to test. Now if you click on my curriculum report, there are different type of curriculum report. See, there are various curriculum I am qualified. So all these functionalities you have to test. Okay, so this is how these systems are. You have resources, you have if you click on resources, these are the resources you have: quick reference guide, contact your training admin team, QARP portal, non-validated reporting, not for GXP use, report a technical issue. All these are your resources. Curriculum. Now, there are various curriculum you can be assigned. I am in 3 curriculum, but people can be assigned to 2 curriculum, 1 curriculum, 5 curriculum, 9 curriculum, depends. Okay, so these are the things, and then if you see, so this is what test when you validate.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
All right. I logged in through my
Go
laptop.
ahead.
Other thing was giving me a problem. So a couple of questions, sir. First of all,
Please go ahead.
when you were testing this, so let's say we are testing the history part of it or a catalog, it doesn't matter. Whenever you're, let's go to a history tab, and there is obviously data integrity here, right? Because if you're logged in, or if you have done your completion, the data needs to be pulled up from somewhere. It's not just coming from the system itself. There's somewhere, data is stored somewhere for this, correct?
That's correct.
So how do we test that part? I mean, this part is more of a GUI test. We can show by a screenshot saying, oh, yeah, Mr. Jai is there. He's completed whatever certificate. But how do we test the data part on this?
You don't need to. That
don't-
is the good thing about validation engineer. You don't need to test the database.
Okay.
You just need to test these functionalities are working or not. So
Mhm.
for example, in your URS FRS, it says if somebody completes their training, it should show in history. And how it should show? It should show what kind of training he completed, the name of the training, the number of the training, when he completed, is he qualified or not, and all these things. It will be all part of your URS and FRS. That's all you test.
Okay. So once he completes the test, being stored in a data, wherever that we don't have to test.
No, you just test interface requirements. There will be interface requirements that once somebody completes the course, it will store in database, and when we go in the report, it will pull that data from the database. So in interface, you have to test one time. That's it. Once you complete, it stores in database. When you pull, it appears here. When you go to report, it appears here. That's all you have to test. You don't need to test the whole thing of database and all these. So those are not part of your table, and yeah.
What my question was, how do we provide documented evidence of your data being transferred to the database?
Very good. So that's what, if it's part of your URS, then what you're gonna, or FRS, that's what you're gonna do. First, you're gonna go create a course, complete it, and go to source one time and see if this target, that your target is database. So go to target and make sure that it is stored these information there.
So the documented
and then you go to history and make sure that when you click on the history, all these appears in your history.
Yeah, I got
so you
that.
tested one time source and tested data.
So I got
target,
that. So I got that. So the documented evidence would be a screenshot of the data table.
Totally.
So screenshot of the
it can be
with your name on the table.
That's it. And you don't even have to do that. Your admin will do it. You just have to ask him, hey, give me the screenshot of data table from your, you can ask DBA that, hey, I'm testing this system. Can you give me this information? They will give you the screenshot. That's it. And you tested one time, that is done.
So would they have access to the VAL environment too then?
No.
So, but the database.
Only validation engineer have.
So the database could be would be in a VAL environment though, right?
No. So understand this phenomena again. You guys are confusing. So database, you are not validating database here.
Correct.
You are validating this system.
Right.
Your database is qualified.
Yep.
It's in production. It's not in VAL. It's in production.
Oh.
Your database is in production. Somebody else validated database. When you validate database, then I will talk about how to validate database. But right now you're not validating database. You are validating this system.
So basically you're just validating the GUI, just the customer, just the frontal portal.
That's it. That's it.
That's
it.
not a big deal, yeah.
Exactly. That's why it's a simple work. That's why whatever you have in your URS and FRS, that's all you're testing to validate.
So then we are testing the application when it is in the market.
Again, explain me that question again. What do you mean?
So like this compliance wire, it is already in the market that we need to test it. Like it's already up and running.
It can be. So understand again what I teach you guys: prospective, retrospective.
Mhm.
If they are implementing this system first time, then you testing prospective validation.
Okay.
When it's up and running, then you doing some changes, then you doing retrospective. So retrospective validation, it's already up and running, it's in production. But prospective, it's not up and running yet,
Okay.
it's not in production, it's still in, you test it in val, but you write your script before, ahead of time.
So one more question on that, Mr. Jha. So since this compliance wire is a vendor operated application, correct?
That's correct.
So if any
But
change,
it cannot be, yeah, it can be also, so whatever vendor operated systems, that means what FDA says, that even your vendor controls it, you have to have a control within the company,
yeah, no,
and you
I
have to
understand.
validate within the company.
I understand that. So my question was, so if anything changes were ever going to be made, obviously we will have to validate it, but the changes will be made by the vendor team, correct? After
Again,
the
again, it
Uh-huh.
again, it's a combination. It can be
Mhm.
combination. So vendor doesn't have 100% control over the system. When it's bought by regulated
Mhm.
industry owns these systems. Even though they can have maintenance done by other vendor,
Mhm.
or they can have support from vendor,
Mhm.
but system has to be owned by regulated industry.
Okay,
So
so
all the controls, they have to have admin, they have to have dev team, all these things has to have it, even in
okay.
house.
So the reason I'm asking again is I want to clarify.
Hmm.
If we got an application, suppose in this case, our company has a compliance while we're using for training purposes. Now, this is a
Hmm.
of the cards are already developed or configured system, and we gave them initially we gave them the requirements that we were looking for, and they came in and they updated the application to suit our needs, right? So whatever they put in there,
That's right.
so it's already built. Now, to make any changes, since we don't actually own the application itself, besides we bought the service, any changes, we can just go in and do whatever changes we like to this?
So again, let's go to basic.
Uh-huh.
You guys are missing the point. So what I remember, if you guys remember what I said, that any system,
Mhm.
even though, most of the system, because pharmaceutical biotechs are not uh, software companies, they buy software from other companies.
Right,
Okay, before they buy it, they have to first create their URS and FRS,
correct,
and they have to qualify the vendor has to
correct,
be qualified.
right,
Once vendor is qualified, and once they decide that, okay, I'm gonna go and buy my learning management system from Compliance Wire,
right,
now they have to create their URS and FRS to see if they can match all the functionality or not.
right.
Now they're gonna build the system. So
Mhm.
how they build is they're not gonna build out there. They have to give all everything to the company here. And
Right.
our team, like
Mhm.
if I am a pharmaceutical or biotech, our team and their team together, they're gonna configure this system
Okay.
based on our URS and FRS. And
Mhm.
then once it's configured, if it's part of their contract, then they can help to configure. But this system now, it's owned by our company
Yeah,
and
yeah. No,
controlled by our company.
no, I totally understand that. Now, for the sake of cost, like now the contract could have, we bought it for $100,000 for
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
functionality. Now you're adding
Yeah.
3 more functionality to it. Who pays for that cost? If we have in control, we can go in and do anything we want to with that.
So we are going out of
Yeah.
context.
Yes, yes, I
Who
know.
pays for, yeah, who pays for it? It's a different contract, however contract is written. But what we have is we have control over this system. We own this system. We have to own this system as a pharmaceutical. And we have to show that control to FDA that it's not owned by vendor anymore. It's my system. And it's configured
I
or
can change it the
yeah,
way I want to.
exactly. But
Okay.
we have to go through the change control.
Right.
We
right.
cannot just go and change it. Yes.
Right.
So we have a process, we have a control on the place. So cost and all those things, it's out
Yeah.
of our context.
No, I
Yeah,
understand.
sure. So let's stay focused on this. Focus on system. How you gonna defend that? I have validated this system. You're gonna put it in your resume. You have validated this system. So stay focused on that. You're gonna pick few modules. Each module takes 3 to 4 months, 5 months, to validate, because there are a lot of functionalities in this. For example, you see this right now, and so I have option. Like if I click now here, I can retake this class again. So for example, I see review, completion, and you see all these. Now, if I say review, all these part of our functionality. It all needs to be tested.
Yeah. And these
This is
are
all part of URS and FR.
yeah. So the URS FRS document for these will be already there.
Yes.
Okay.
Or you have to be part of it while writing.
Yeah, if it's a new one.
Yes. If it's a new one, then you can be part of it while they are writing, they are building the system.
Correct.
Okay. So
History, curriculum.
yeah. So write down those, and nobody gonna dig you on the small functionality. As long as you can say, I have validated history, I have validated curriculum, I have validated to do, that's more than enough. They can dig up to. You just pick and report, you just pick a couple of modules and say, hey, I validated this system. What did you validate it? I have validated this module. These are called module. Report, to do. I know it's got stuck. Let me check. So review. Anyway, it's not working right now. Let me check the other view.
Sir, I have a question.
So for example, yes,
So normally
go ahead.
when companies they build their software or any application, they usually have like a backdoor access their system, even though they've distributed it to different companies,
They don't. That's the difference. In regulated industry, they don't
they
have
cannot?
backdoor
Oh, they
access.
can.
No.
Oh, okay.
They cannot touch anything. Yeah. The moment it goes in production, they have to enable audit trail. They cannot
okay.
go and do anything.
Okay.
That is the difference in regulated industry.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. So for example, I click this one and I see review, certification of completion, and each and everything you see here, it's part of URS and FRS. You see training, when it title, code, version, type, everything you see here, it's part of URS and FRS. And everything you have tested. If you have validated this system, you have tested each and every functionality of it. So now I click on review and see, it comes here. I click on review and I can still look at this.
We cannot hear anything.
Can't hear it?
No.
Yep. So that's how you can go and review each and every training in back.
So when we
So these are the
validate-
functionality of this system. What?
and when we validate, if you go to the to-do module, there are different training types, right? So for example, there is
Yeah, different types, and you're gonna have. Right now, I don't have due date, but you're gonna have due date. You're gonna have number and what type of this. And if you click this, then it will take you to that course.
okay.
So
That-
these are your URS and FRS. These are
Right,
your
so-
functionalities.
So when we validate this, sir, do we need to validate all of those components or just one type of those training module?
One type, like
One type is
one
good, man.
instructor led one. Yeah, one type, one RNU, one WBT. That's it.
Okay.
You test those, and that's
Okay.
it. You're done.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to. Then you also test these if these are working or not.
Right.
Search is working or not. Print is working or not. Download is working or not. Whatever you see here, it has a purpose. It was built based on your URS and FRS.
Right.
Yes.
See, and that's what you're gonna test. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less.
So
So this is your learning management system. Yes, go ahead.
another question on these ones. So let's say that you use the compliance wire. Now your to-do list is probably put there by your supervisor or your HR department based on your roles, right?
Mhm,
You are required to do Lean
that's right.
Sigma. Those part you don't have to test, correct? If it is in the functionality, we do have to test it.
Yes, that will be functionality of admin.
Okay. Okay. And then
So you have to go as an admin and you have to test that. Can you assign somebody the curriculum? Can you assign somebody certain
Right.
training?
Training.
Yeah, and those will be their part of the test. So for
Right.
any system, you have to test the whole thing.
right.
Of course, yeah. And that will be part of URS and FRS.
So basically it will be like auto-generated right there before we test it.
No,
No.
how it can be auto-generated? Then what you gonna do in a prerequisite and test preparation? What is
Yeah,
test
so
prep?
My admin will just have the courses there and then I just have to go in and test it.
No. If you're going think about it, any system, you want to test it, you have to have a test prep. So if you're going as a user, then I understand. Then your test preparation have that you are already assigned a course. But if you're going as an admin, then you need to go and assign a course to someone.
No, I'm telling as a user, not as an admin.
Yeah, as a user, then you have to have written that in test prep that, I have already assigned a course.
Okay.
And now you're going to go and start testing those functionalities, if it works or not.
Thank you.
Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how we do test prep and, all our preparation. And based on that, so these are modules. You can defend any module: to do, history, catalog, report. Each module will take 3 to 5 months for one person to test and write tests, sometimes more. Just this system, you see, very simple system, it can take more than 1.5 years to validate. For 15 validation engineer. Think about it.
So one
This is
more
yes.
question on that. So when they're asking us questions, do we try to defend our resume based on the fact that we worked as a team and there were 5, 6 validation engineers working on the project, and
Of course.
I did the history part, but sometimes I would also do the to-do part when there was not enough validation engineer to that team. And that,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's what, yeah, that's what I told you in the beginning, that you guys not gonna work on the whole system. You cannot show that. One person cannot validate any system. Always know that. System is various people, it's like, again, in my discoverant system I'm working, I have 40 validation engineer just for maintenance and change control. It's not even prospective validation. Think when it was built. So the person who is working on history and catalog, they might even know everything about curriculum,
Mhm. Yeah.
not all the functionality.
Yep.
You will be only knowing about the history. So you have to pick and choose any of these two modules, and you can defend yourself. That's it. So simple.
Mr. Jha, give us an example in this situation in compliance wire. What would be a retrospective validation? What would we add in something like this? That's just an example.
So many things. Like, for example, I have this to do. Am I right? So I have here, it shows what kind of instructor-led course, what is the number. So now I see here, if I click here, let's see what it says, that welcome to Quality University, and what it says that there are no classes available for online register at this time, for example. So now I need to change it. I need to change. So the business comes and he say, hey, I want to give them when it will be available,
Oh, okay.
for
Okay.
example. So that's your retrospective. You want to add some information here, that it will be available in second quarter, it will be available in third quarter. So many things you can add here. You have print, remove, but then you can add some more buttons here. That's how the retrospective validation works. You just keep on adding certain informations, change, the way it looks, so many things keep on happening. Every system is evaluating, ev- day by day. Now no system stays the same forever. So that's your retrospective. Keep on changing. Keep on coming up with new idea, new user requirements, new functional requirements. Keep on adding, and that's what you do: retrospective validation, change control, change management. Okay. So this is your one system I have walked you through. Okay. Now let's go second system. So for second system, let me go to history. So for this, see, I want to review it again. So what it does is it will review. So now it will take me to Viva Vault. So this is your system, Vault. What Viva Vault? It's a vault, where it's your document management system. What are the things you have in document management system? So see, when I clicked here, it took me here, because this is where these systems, these documents are stored. And it is controlled by all these metadata. You see all these metadata, all these things you see: applicability, training, product information, status, version history, signatures, who signed it, all these legacy audit trail, everything you see here. This is how it's being controlled, these documents. Now look at this system, for this purpose. So this is one SOP. Now you see these signs, everything has to be tested in this system. This system takes 2 years to validate, more than 2 years sometime, as a prospective. And then it's a continuous validation happening. 20 validation engineer continuously working in this system. forever until the system will retire. So what you do? So for example, see, I have here the options. Like if I click here, I can look at viewable rendition. I can look at source document. I have both options because I am manager. But if a user goes, he cannot see source document. It's not allowed. So every document in this vault is controlled, and it goes through change control. You have to check out, check in. If you see here, you see these functionalities here. If I click here, see request for issuance, create document change request, send as a link, download notes, sharing setting, make a copy, workflow history, duplicate content, training report, where used, version history. All these things you need to test, audit trial for this document. So each document have its own, each document is its own entity, and it's all controlled. Nobody can go and just change like that the document. These are all controlled documents. So this is what are the functionalities are. Then you can create, see this, create, and then you can create various document placeholder, and then you can create SOP document, all kind of templates, reports, all kind of things you can create from here. Then this system have basically, if I go to home, it's a document management system, but it has cycle, document cycle. Once somebody creates, so you see in my personal, I have these two documents for review. I have date when I need to review, finish reviewing. I can show more. It will show me that who routed this document. When I complete, it will complete. I can revert it back with more comments. So this is where, this is a document management system where you manage the document, your workflow, your approval, and then it happens all your. So if I click on this, if I go and search URS, say for example, just simple URS. Now you see 973 pages multiplied by 25 URS is here. And all these URS have a different state. So this is in review edit. This is in review edit. This is effective. This is approved. This is effective. This is effective. So see, this is how these documents draft. If somebody is drafting, it's in the draft state. So when you create your IQ, OQ, PQ, this is where you're going to route that for review and approval. But you create outside, you go here, you say create, and then you create placeholder, and in placeholder, you upload your document. That's it. And it will, and then you can route it for review. Then after review, comments come, you fix it, then you route it for approval.
And is this
So
synced with
every
Word?
company have a document management system.
Is it synced with Word?
Go ahead.
Is it synced with Word? So once you upload the document,
Yes, sync with the Word. Yes. Sync with the Word. It has templates. It has everything.
so basically these are not
Now,
management document management system, but it is control document management system.
that's correct. You can say that.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that way-
Everything is controlled.
so that means
Yeah.
even
In this industry, in regulated industry, everything is a controlled system.
so it will log everything you do about the document, whether you print it, whether you take copies of it, and then you are also
Totally.
and you're also supposed to give back the original document and all that kind of stuff.
Totally. Exactly. That's why you have to issue a document in order to execute. You cannot just go and print copy. If you print the
That's-
copy, it will in your watermark, it say copy. Then you cannot execute.
Yeah, I was going through some slides on that today, so that's how I found that.
Sorry, it got disconnected, guys.
So earlier, when you were looking at the document status, it says effective and approved. What's the difference?
So the documents, those are you're going to learn in SOP. Basically, what happens is even if it's approved, it has to go. It has a 14 days retention period in order to become effective. Yeah.
Yes.
So if any user, any concern, stakeholders, everybody needs to be informed that you're changing this document. So they give 14 days in order to become effective before, after, even if it's approved.
It's like a
So
grace
that's how,
period.
yeah, that's how it works. So look at this system. It's a very simple system, but it will take 2 years to validate, guys, for 30 to 40 people. If 40 people works in this system, it will take 2 years prospective validation. That's how much URS and FRS it has, this system has. So now it has a library. So they're going to ask you, what did you validate in this system?
Can you share
So
your
even,
We cannot see a screen.
oh, okay. Can you see it now? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, this system, if you see, so now just going to the, like, there are, everybody have their own view. So I have my own view. I have my own notifications. So if I click, I have all these notifications in here in this system, when I go. My pending task, I have these tasks, but sometimes I can have more than 20, 30 tasks pending. So I have to go one by one and work on those, Beside that, so go to library. So they're gonna ask you, what did you validate in this system in Viva Vault? So these are the modules: library, reports, dashboards, CXO, data qualification, change management. You can also manage the change from here. You don't need to go track wise. And issuance, you see, and then all kind of issuance. What is the issuance? So only say, if you're going to say that I have worked in Viva Vault for 1 year, you can only spend 1 year validating this library, all kind of library of the document. Okay, so it has documents, you have QDMS TD state library, you have QDMS working library, partner collaboration library, business documents library, contractor manuals library, contractor manual evidences. All these libraries, each library means a lot of functionality. So if I click on document, right now I don't have anything but you see it's 5,000 plus documents. Multiply by 25. It's a vault. Okay, so you see all these documents, whatever documents you want to see, it will be there for last 15 years. And a lot of documents also can be archived in a different archival. So once it's a retention period cross, then they archive in a separate system. So this is the system you have. Yeah.
Dhruv,
Go ahead.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this G-Vault, was it developed, this whole system of document management, was it developed in-house by Gilead, or you guys outsourced it to some software company to do the development phase of this?
Madhukar, you're asking me all the question which is supposed to ask in the beginning. Remember what I said. These pharmaceutical biotechs, medical devices are not software companies. They don't build software. They buy software. They are not in a software businesses. So what they do is they buy these software from the software companies and they owns it and they controls it. That's a requirement. So so these systems, like every company have to have a document management system. Every company has to have, all these kind of learning management system, for example. So they buy it from other vendor, but they owns these documents, the systems, and they have to control the whole system in their hand, because that's one of the requirement. So answering your question, no system is built by pharmaceutical biotech. Yes, they do some custom work after they buy based on their specific requirements. They can do that, but hundreds of systems being used in these pharmaceutical biotechs, they don't have software building department. They just own it and maintain it.
Okay, so I guess so all the softwares will fall under either Cat 3 or Cat 4. None of will fall in Cat 5, right?
Why not? I just told you some of the system can be custom.
Right. So custom will be Cat 4, right?
No, custom is 5.
Yes, custom is 5.
Custom is 5.
Oh,
That
okay,
doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that they start from scratch. Custom doesn't mean they start from scratch. Even any code they're gonna touch based on their requirement, a specific requirement, that system can be custom because they're touching the code and their control has to be different. So FDA regulation says the moment you touch the code, you have to show the other control. But these systems, remember, these systems are not even, these systems need to be validated in-house, but these systems also has to be validated from the source, like vendor who sold it to us, sold it to these companies. So they have to validate these systems too. That's how the foolproof these systems has to be. You understand?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so document management system can come from any company. This is Vault, it's coming from Viva Vault. But say EDMS, document management system, they have. ETQ have document management system. Reliance sells document management systems. There are so many companies who have only document management systems. So based on companies' need, they go and they, based on their requirement, they go and they choose the vendor and then they buy these systems. But just to buy, yeah.
And
go ahead, yeah.
Is there a practice among companies, like let's say in your case, this Viva Vault, you have a vendor, whoever it is there a practice while validating that you tend to ask for their validation document too? Is that something you guys do?
Totally, yes, we have to. Yeah. We have to, and we have to keep that. Okay. So like 20 years before, a lot of the systems, they used to use it just based on vendors' validation document, but not anymore. So the regulation says, no. The vendor has to validate, they have to give you their package, but that's not enough. You have to validate in-house every system now.
So then this whole thing is very mute, right? Because you already have validation document, the original validation document. There might be some changes, but the validation document is already there with screenshots and everything from the vendor.
That's right.
Okay.
It's a Mickey Mouse game.
Yeah, I know.
So we can cheat.
No, it's not.
No,
cheap.
but the thing is,
yeah, you still have to perform.
You still have to validate in-house.
It's a reference, I guess.
Yeah. So now, what vendor gives you, but also understand what vendors gave you is their package, which contains maybe 5,000 requirement.
Right.
But you are going to use only 2,000 requirement out of that.
Correct.
So you don't need, their package is there that it's validated.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to validate based on our requirement now.
Yes. Yeah. For reference purpose.
Understand that part. Yes, understand that part. For reference purpose, yes, we have to have that vendor's package as well, included. That's why we have job both side. We have job both side, into this side and that side.
And those documents will also be in the Viva Vault itself, correct? If that's the what you use.
Yes, vendors package. That's what you saw here. The libraries,
Mhm.
when you see the libraries, contractors manual, business documents,
Okay.
partner collaboration,
Okay. Mhm.
contractor manual evidences, all these, this is how it's done and this is how it's kept. Or sometimes they can keep vendor documents separately
Mhm. Okay.
as well, not to burden this one system.
So one more questions on validation. Now, since I see that based on what you have gone through, I mean,
Mhm.
this system to validate takes 3 years, but 35 people. So obviously there are so many
Mhm.
people working on it. How do you integrate the validation process so that nobody is doing double or it is going in sequential form? How do you justify or verify that? How do we know that, okay, somebody is doing all tasks, somebody is doing my task? You know what I'm trying to say? Since there are 35 people
Mhm.
working on validation with so many functionalities, what is the process
Mhm.
of streamlining it? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so you just did validation plan, am I right?
Right.
So in validation plan, you're gonna say that how you're gonna validate this system based on that. So now you have 2,000 requirements, say 6,000 or 5,000 FRS.
Mhm.
So I'm a validation lead here. I was validating Viva CRM for Otsuka Pharmaceutical. I had a 3 team back in India, one in Calcutta, one in Pune, one in Bangalore. So what I did, I divided the module. I was the only lead here. So I divided the module. So, okay, Pune team takes libraries. Calcutta teams take report.
Mhm.
And uh, Bangalore team take dashboards. Now they will go and start picking all the requirements of libraries.
Okay.
You remember your requirements are categorized.
Right, right.
So all the library requirements are in one category.
Right.
And then connected FRS is in one category. So they take the whole chunk and create a mini requirement only for library. And then they're going to start writing OQ and PQ for me.
So basically, you could have multiple OQ and PQs for this only one system.
Multiple, multiple.
So,
Like,
so there's not going to
yeah,
be
like,
one OQ. That's what I'm saying. So it could be like one OQ from the Calcutta team, which involves the dashboard,
no,
an OQ from Pune team, which involves reports and that kind of stuff.
no. So in one library now, so in only library now, they have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams.
Right.
Because there is a 7 libraries.
Right.
And each library have their own requirements.
And that will be a separate OQ.
Totally.
And then how do you version it? How do you number it so that it's aligned when you look at the total system itself? So let's say I want a OQ of Viva Vault.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you sequence it in a way? Which one is the OQ of Viva Vault, the main OQ?
It goes main, there is no such thing like main OQ.
Oh, okay.
There is a number. Every OQ, every document is unique and it has its own number. Always remember, it's an independent entity, but it's recorded in my well summary report. You remember when you put all your
Right.
documents, what are the documents you executed?
Right.
That's where it's recorded. So you go to summary report and then you can find out that which are the OQ is connected to which part. Everything is connected together.
I see.
And in your traceability matrix.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out on the traceability matrix. How do you?
Yes. Yes. In your traceability matrix, it's gonna speak that which requirements are tested in which OQ.
So there will only be one traceability matrix for the whole thing, correct?
That's correct.
And then there could
You don't need multiple traceability matrix, no.
Right. and then it will be a version said. So they will. Again, this is how I'm going to picture. I'm trying to picture the practicality of it. So the Pune team do it in a shared place where they go and update the matrix, and the calculator team will go.
Totally.
Okay, so it's a
On
version.
a shared document, yeah. Or what they do is they do their part and they send it to me because I was the lead here, and I
Mhm.
just combine everything together.
Okay, good. All right. So
Yeah, I put everything together. I combine 3 pieces from all 3 teams.
got it.
That's the job of lead.
Yeah, I'm
So
getting.
that's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. So any other question in this? So these are the, so you can say I have, even if you say I have worked for search engine, I have wrote search engine. So these are the Boolean, search engine. This has a lot of different characteristic. So only if you're writing search functionality, it can take you 3 months.
So what do we call this? The search feature? Is it a module too, or
Search engine, yeah.
is it
Search
search
engine.
engine?
Of course, it's not like a Google search, but it has a lot of search functionalities, how you can search
But it will search within the document only, correct?
within the documents, title search, content search, all kind of search.
Yeah, within the vault.
Then you go advanced search. Yeah, if you go in advanced search, if you go in advanced search, see all these functionalities you have to test one by one. So what are the FRS? Now click on this, you see what all you have. You see all these, each and every, these are FRS, and everything you have to test one by one and give the evidence that it's working.
It's a lot of job security, I can see it.
Exactly. That's why, you're never out of the job in this industry.
Never.
You have always work. Yeah, you have always work. And not, the good part is what FDA put, the condition that, hey, our regulations that not only us, even the vendor has to be validated and sub vendor has to be validated. If he is in Vietnam, making some part, a small part, their company has to be validated too.
So when that happens, how does this work? So you go to that site?
Yeah, they call you. Again,
and
2 weeks ago, they called me 2 places, France
Right.
and Ireland.
So,
They were offering me good money.
So if that thing happened, let's say you were called to France, they would provide you the URS, FRS, correct?
Or I have to write it for them.
Wow.
If they're paying me top dollar.
So it could take like 2 years to write the requirement itself.
It can. That's why I have to go with the whole team. I can't do it alone.
Okay, put me in that team if you ever go.
Yes, of course, I will. I'm counting on you. So 5 of you guys already selected again, by the way. They're gonna get you to 5 of you guys immediate interview within 3 days. Chandan sir, Sahil, Niketan, Madhukar, and Srishti. Get up and get into the job. Get ready.
Yeah, they better pay high bucks for me. I ain't going for $35 for sure.
Don't look for high pay right now. High pay, it's gonna come. Right now, just put your feet inside this industry. I'm telling you. It's not 35, but of course, pay is coming. It's on the way. Get your feet inside. That's your primary goal. I'm telling you. So you see each and everything, each of these, data field needs to be tested.
Okay. No, yeah, I got it. This is
so if you work for only, if they ask you, hey, what did you do in Vault? You say, hey, I validated search. It would take you at least 3 to 6 months to put all these and execute.
Dhruv, this is Dhruv.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, Muthu.
No, go ahead, Sahil, please go ahead.
Okay. What I was asking was, in the interview, are they also going to ask us to give us a couple of examples of functionality that we validated, or just the module?
just the module level. Nobody gonna dig you on a functionality level. But if they are hiring you only, say for example, they saw you have a Viva Vault
Mhm.
experience and they need Viva Vault person right away,
Right.
then they might ask you some of few functionality just in case to make sure that you have worked in Viva Vault.
Right.
That's it. So in those cases, you can go and dig, So any system, again, guys, any system you can defend that you have validated because you know the validation process. All you need to know is basic features of that system. So that's how, one of our student, Anil, put 6 or 7 systems. And what he did is he went to YouTube and LinkedIn system learning, and he just went through the video and he put the note, make the note that, oh, these are the features, because in the demo of those products they show some features, and that's all you're going to say, that I have validated these features. They're not going to ask you each and every FRS. How can they ask you in 1 hour or 2 hours? Because it can be thousands of FRS, hundreds of FRS. It's not possible. So no interviewer can ask you each and every FRS. Not even URS, not possible. Yes, module level, they can ask you, what are these modules you have validated? You can say, I have validated library, I have validated reports, I have validated dashboard or search or create, how to create a document and route it for review and route it for approval. That's all. Then there's, you see, admin. Admin have hundreds of features, hundred of requirement for admin only. If you see this admin, only admin have hundreds of requirements. If you validate, you have to validate each and everything. If you validate, you have to also validate this question mark. Everything you see in the system. Yeah, Madhukar, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So, I just want to, repeat what Chandra sir asked the question again. I'll just ask it in a different way that, so when the vendor has already tested and validated most of the features, like let's say they have 200 features and we need only 150 of them, and they have already validated it. So aren't we like duplicating the effort? What value are we adding by validating the system again in maybe in our environment? So that's what I'm not completely understanding clearly, I guess.
Protect you
So
against
Madhukar,
lawsuit.
you are telling me to become a legislature and change the law. I'm not a congressman. I don't make laws. We follow the laws. Yeah. And law says that it doesn't matter. Vendor validation package, we don't value. You have to validate in-house again. What if, and the reason behind is, what if, we're going to use only 150 functionalities. What if it's going to break?
No, I agree. I mean, I can relate to it because the same thing happens in my industry, the aerospace industry also. So we buy parts from vendors, they test it, but we do the qualification testing when we receive it. So I mean, I guess it's the same thing. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, same thing. You have to validate in-house again, regardless. Regardless, they give you validation package. That's why you have a lot of work in validation. It's never ending. $1 trillion going to your India, Madhukar, every year. You guys making $1 trillion only from life science. Every year. Can you believe that? And that's the fact. So that's why we have a lot of work here. A lot of people needs to work in this industry, because each and every, and I'm talking about one system here, guys. There is hundreds, Gilead I'm working for, there is 600 system they are using. Think about it. And 95% of the system is GXP. Either directly connected or indirectly connected, because without system, nothing can work anymore. Everything is systemized.
Sir, what are the basic
And we are,
systems that we normally use in the industry? Like we've gone through so far, document management system, learning management system. What else kind of systems that we use?
Google it. Okay, let me just Google what are the systems being used in pharma biotech.
Okay.
Give you answer.
thousands of.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about
Okay.
I'm talking about types. Like it's some of these are document management system. Then we looked at learning
Yeah.
management system. Do we have like anything else like like database management system or security management
Yeah, there are every kind, CRM, ERP, manufacturing systems, you have lab systems, there is various kind of systems.
So do you have to
Yeah.
validate this G-Track too, since it is part of your Gilead?
Yes.
So you have to validate
So
this.
now let's take you to track-wise system. This is the system I want you guys to be familiar with. Okay. So this is another system called G-Track, track-wise. Okay. So this track-wise system, what you're gonna say is, I have worked. So this is a quality management module. So in quality management, you're gonna say that what you worked in quality operations, what you worked on, don't say feasibility study, don't say deviation, but say change management. I have worked on change management. Okay. Now, what are the features in change management? So let's say I selected change management and continue. Now you remember the change management, right? So whatever we did, now we're gonna validate it. We validated the change management. So what you validated? You validated general information, assessment impact, implementation plan, approvers, change completion, e-signature, legacy amendment, legacy extension, save plus, check a spelling, change project. Everything you have tested. That's how you validate it. Am I right? Now let's go dig a little bit deeper into it. So general information, what are the, everything, even these signs, everything you need to validate. It's not without any reason. Everything has a purpose. It's all part of FRS. Everything you see written, you are FRS. That's why it's been put here. So this is just a information. Now go assessment and impact. Yeah. Sorry, I'm connected to BP and that's why it's breaking. I'm connected to direct company right now. So yeah, just for you guys to show these systems. Yeah, because unless I connect to VPN, I can't access these systems. So bear with me. Okay. Now look at impact assessment. What kind of, everything, even these signs are all part of FRS. Everything to be tested, validated. Each and everything. Only this change control, change management module to validate, it will take you more than 1 year for 20 engineers. So see, risk now documentation impact, training impact, validation impact, impact, master file impact, product license dosage impact, product hold impact, process, system functionality impact, data integrity impact, integration interface impact, EHS impact, file attachments. Even everything you have to test and validate. And not only you have to test that, you have to fill the data and also test that if it works or not. And save. Then you create and you change project. Each and everything you see here, it needs to be validated. Each and every minute detail. So as long as you say that I have validated TrackWise and I've validated impact estimate or implementation plan or approvers, that's more than enough. You can work for 1 year.
So if I say that I work with change management and use TrackWise, what would I normally work with in this scenario?
You just create a change request, and then in change request, in order to create a change request, you need to fill all of these.
Okay. So basically you just initiated the change request on TrackWise and then
Yes.
based on the direction of your lead or a system admin, you worked on control management by creating change management document, right?
Right.
And
so each and everything you have filled, and after you filled, then let me show you one example. So say, for example, this is 183332. This is a unique number was given. It was created by me. It's in production, if you see, guys. So it was created by me. Now, if you see, it's filled with information. You know,
the number
change. What is the description of change?
And the number is system generated.
System generated, yes. So justification for change.
Yeah.
All these sites, it can be hundreds of sites, different, and all these things. System. What is your system name? All these information you need to fill. And you go and you fill as assessment impact. Then you know.
Yeah, most of this information.
Impact. If I go and click here, document impact. What are the documents are impacted? If you see document impact, I need to fill this. So that's how we fill all. So when you validated each and every, you filled these information each and every site of it. Understood?
Yeah, we couldn't hear you, but yeah, we see.
Can't hear you. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you, but
can you hear? Can you hear, Chandan?
Yeah, we can hear you now. My question was, so like you taught us in the paper documents that you're not supposed to leave anything blank. Is it okay in change management TrackWise to leave blank if there is nothing in that section?
So if you cancel the whole section, yes. Like for example, if it's emergency, if it's not emergency, then it says it is emergency change. No, that means you don't need to fill anything. It's a system. Okay. But if you say yes, then you have to fill, because it's a live document right now. It's not executed one.
Right. So and most of
but when you execute. Yeah, when you execute in the end, it will show NA.
Right. So basically, when most of the information that we fill out in the change control, this TrackWise is something we already got with us, right? In a form of a document or in form of somebody gave it to us, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Right. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. So this is the 3 systems you're gonna put in your resume. And you're going to learn how to defend.
Yeah.
Okay, these are very common systems. Now, I work in Discoverant. Discoverant system is very, very complex system. If you can work on those systems, Discoverant and Delta V, then your rate is sky. But those are very complex systems. So, but start with these basic systems first. Say that I can validate these systems and I have some experience. And that's how you're going to put your feet inside. Once you put your feet inside, that's when you're going to jump into complex systems.
Mhm.
And more complex system you can validate, you're making top dollar. There is no limit, I'm telling you. I have seen validation engineer, in my colleagues, some of my colleagues, making $325 per hour. Yes, that's how big this industry is. As much as you want to grow, the sky is the limit. So that's all for today. Anything else you guys have?
I,
Systems, put it in your resume. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had one question, Mr. Judge. Like when we were doing the VAL plan last week, our assessment document, that 195, told us based on
Mhm.
our question and answer that we ticked in that form, it showed us that it had a 1 CFR 11 impact, but it's a COTS system. How do we reconcile that? I didn't understand what to do.
Okay. So whether it's a CORD system or configurable or custom, it doesn't matter. See, what first thing what you did assessment is whether it's a GXP or not. Am I right?
Right.
Once it's a GXP, then you have a decision to make whether you're going to have database or not. Are you going to have any electronic record, electronic signature in this system or not? The moment you're going to have electronic record and electronic signature, 21 CFR Part 11 applies. If you're not going to have any data, like, you can choose in your printer case that you can choose you're not going to have any electronic record and electronic signature except that 10 logs which stays in your display, and it keep on deleting itself. If it's get 11, the 11th in one is gone.
No,
Yeah.
I-
So
I
that
got-
means you're not going to have any data or electronic record to deal with. So if you don't have any record to deal with, then yes, then you
Yeah.
21 CFR Part 11
No,
doesn't apply.
I got
But
that. I got that totally.
but you can choose even in your printer case, you can choose to store the data. And if you choose to store the data, then you have to apply 21 CFR Part
No,
11.
I got that. I totally get that. Now, based on the
Yes.
form, there is a list of things that apply, which puts it at a category of low, medium to high, right? And on the high column, there is saying, is the equipment used for manufacturing labels and blah, blah, blah. Well, since this is a label printer, it falls under that category. So we click.
That's correct.
And then based on that totality of there was a couple of things that we had to do, the criticality score and all that kind of score, that it did have 21 CFR impact based on that form. But we're still not recording any data. We're capturing any electronic signatures based on our conversation about the VAL plan. So I took out the CF21 CFR, but our form actually suggested that it does have 21 CFR impact based on whatever we clicked on the form.
Yes, very good question. So now let's come to that point now. So 21 CFR Part 11, so now you don't have electronic record, electronic signature, or you don't have database to deal with.
Right.
So you don't have, say for example, you don't have audit trail enabled because you don't have electronic record and electronic signature.
Yeah.
But still it applies for controls, administrative controls, security. So those, so since your system is part of label or part of that category, that's when you're going to apply your security requirements into it.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I'm still confused because my form. Okay, I'm still confused.
So that is data security, right, sir? Like
No,
nobody can change
system
system
security.
system security. So nobody can change
System.
our level like right level to the like different level. So the medicine for level printer. So this system is critical because it's directly depend on the patient's health.
So yeah, that's why the reason I choose this system, and it's easily available. But now you have a lot of brainstorm to do. So now, you also have to think that the labels you are pulling from where, how you handling the label, the way you handle the label, that can also be, because it's a critical
Yeah,
data.
yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So how you going to handle your label, where you going to store your label, or you are going to have access to other system to pull the label from, those things comes into the picture. So that's when you have to decide, you guys. So that's why you have, when you were writing the URS, you didn't think through all of these, but now at least you can think through it, that how I'm gonna secure my label. The label has to be secured. Label cannot be. So that's why you have to put security in your system, certain security controls.
But that is not 21 CFR, right?
No, but if you're storing the label,
Then you need signatures, obviously.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that means then 21 CFR Part 11 applies.
Applies, yeah. So according to that form, it did say it applied because we're dealing with a label, but our URS and FRS didn't have that functionality, so we were in a limbo.
Yes. So that gap you have. So two things there. One, you're gonna have. So first you have to think through it. So 21 CFR Part 11 is for your data. Just think, and security. When do you need it? When it applies. The auditor, you have to give a justification that, hey, in my system 21 CFR Part 11 doesn't apply. Then he's gonna ask you question, do you have any database connected with it? You're gonna say, no, I'm not having a database, I don't store anything. Then he's gonna ask you, okay, then tell me, do you access a data somewhere through your system? So the moment you access the data through your system, how you going to get your label printer? Even though you don't have in your requirement, now it's time to go and add and revise.
Yeah, that system requires 21 CFR, 100%. I agree with that.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Because one part you see that, hey, I don't need to store any information. Another part, you have a label printer which comes into the label, which comes into the picture. How you going to handle your label? And the moment you're going to handle your label, either going to the outer interface system, or somebody going to give it to you, basically. So when I'm teaching this class, basically I'm not going to that level because everybody cannot comprehend at this point, because my purpose is not to make you guys how to think, how to do assessment at this point. I mean, Chandan sir, you bring that question, but my concern is how to write IQ, OQ, and PQ as a validation engineer. But since you're bringing that question, that's when we should have thought when we wrote URS.
That's correct. No, I agree. Totally agree now.
Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing to confuse, but my purpose was not to take you guys there. I'm not teaching you how to become a well lead right now. I'm teaching you how to become a validation engineer. For well lead, you have to do the advanced course.
Okay. All right.
Which will come maybe next year. In 2 years, I'll start advanced course. Once you guys make some money, becoming a value engineer, or you can learn on job also. You can grow there, you can learn there as well. You don't need to take advanced class. There are jobs which will give you opportunity to learn. Okay,
Yes, sir.
make sense? Yeah.
A lot more sense now.
Okay, so are you guys ready for the job now?
Well,
Yep.
I told Dolly to wait till Monday or Tuesday because I want her to finalize my resume and send it to me. And then I'm going to work on it, study it, and then put all these work
But the
stuff.
employer is waiting for you guys. They picked you, 5 of you.
Employers
Come
always,
on.
I'll always get an employer. I'm not worried about employer. I'm worried about myself. I want to be perfect.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. That's a more important part. Yes. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording now, and
Okay.